Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are international. If you're anywhere in the world and you need to get to a therapist, go to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Fill out a questionnaire. They'll place you with a licensed master's level or PhD level therapist in your area, or that can do international. They also have very, very affordable packages, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people using them. So thank you, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Hello. So much has happened in the world. So current events. If you go to my Facebook page, We Need to Talk with Chris Godinez, I posted a thing from the Sheltie Emergency Network. Hold on, because I belong to all the dog stuff. So it's called SCENE, Sheltie Collie Emergency Network E-Alert. And this soon-to-be ex dumped this woman's dog or killed it. We don't know. Between Houston and Phoenix. He told her that he left it at a shelter. She called all of the shelters around Houston. The dog is not in a shelter. So he did something to that dog. I don't know what. And either he dumped it on the highway, gave it to somebody. But if you go and you look, there's a picture of the dog. The dog, I believe, is chipped. All of the information is in the text below. But I wanted to use this as a good reminder that abusers can and will harm, hurt, kill pets in order to hurt you. So if you leave an abuser, they are 100% going to go after what you love because you've hurt them. Remember, you're dealing with somebody who is possibly a dark triad and who is operating emotionally on the level of a 2-year-old on a good day if the wind is blowing in the right direction on a Tuesday. Do you see where I'm going with that? So if you guys could please go to my page and share the living crap out of that Sheltie Collie Emergency Network E-Alert, that would be really, I would be so grateful, because for 2 reasons. One, I'm a dog lover. And 2, I can't imagine knowing that your dog is gone and not knowing where or if it's even still alive. So, and remember, guys, when you go to leave an abuser, and this is the public service announcement, this is the current event for the day. When you're going to leave an abuser, you must have a plan for your pets. You must, because if you don't, these abusers will harm them in some way, shape, or form. They'll take them away from you. They'll leave the gate open and they run away and you never see them again, or they kill them, or they maim them, or they hurt them, or they harm them, or they give them to somebody, or they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're planning on leaving, you have to have a plan, not just for you and your kids, but for you and your pets. And that may include you giving the pet to a friend so that the pet is safe, or giving the pet up to a rescue with the, understanding that as soon as you get into a stable position, finding a foster for the pet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Pets, unfortunately, are considered property. They're not considered sentient beings. They're not considered emotional, whatever. They're considered property by the courts. So your ex could theoretically come after you for the pet and all of this stuff, especially if they knew the pet was important to you. But you know what? I'd rather the pet be safe. I really, honest to God, pets and kids, man, make sure they're safe, because these, how to explain, these dark triads, you hurt them, they're going to hurt you. It's tit for tat with them. They don't have a moral compass. And I can't tell you the number of times I've had people go, oh, they would never. And I'm like looking at them going, dude and dudette, I have been doing this for 17 plus years. Yeah, they would do that. Yeah, they would harm your pet. Yeah, they will steal it. Yeah, they will dump it by the highway. Yeah, they'll give it to somebody you don't know and you can't get a hold of it. They're trying to hurt you. It's like, I'm not just whistling a tune just to hear myself whistle, people. They will do it. Stop underestimating these jackasses. Seriously, stop underestimating them. They will do it. And that whole, oh, they would never. How old are you? How old is your inner child? Seriously, you've got to get that inner child under control or being able to be appropriately expressed, because here's the deal. At that point in time, your inner child is running the show and you in danger, girl. Seriously, you in danger. Because if you're letting the inner child run the show and you're lying to yourself and you're going, "Oh, they would never." Yeah, they would. Yeah, they would. You've got to understand, dark triads, psychopath, narcissist, control freak, psychopath, antisocial. Rules of the land do not apply to them. They think they're special. Okay. They don't abide by the normal moral compass. Now, in your relationship with them, they may not have ever done anything like that. But the second you hurt them emotionally, you decide to leave. Oh, honey, they will. They absolutely will. Dark triads, man, that's all they enjoy is hurting and harming their ex, because their ex hurt them by leaving and pointing out that they're crazy and a jackass. So anyway, the point being is, please share that. Please go to the Sheltie Collie Emergency Network alert, and it's on my page on Facebook. Share the crap out of that. We got to get this dog home. We got to find this dog. I don't even know if the dog's alive. For her sake, I hope it is, but who knows? But it's anywhere between Houston and Phoenix. So it could be in a shelter in Phoenix, or he could have been lying. He could have just kept the dog. Who knows? We don't know. So anyway, upstanding guy there. Yeah, you betcha. All right. So today we are talking about imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is when we feel like we're fake. Okay. We feel like we're a fraud. We feel like our accomplishments are somehow not worthy of attention, or not worthy of praise, or not worthy of respect, or not worthy, period. Okay. So imposter syndrome is so common among survivors of abuse, whether that abuse was from a family of origin, or whether that abuse was from a romantic partner, or a boss, or a coworker, or a friend, or whatever. So what abuse causes that? What goes on? So several things are happening. One, family of origin. Let's talk about how, well, not even just family of origin. Let's talk about how abusers love to take credit for what you've done. Seriously. So you'll do something amazing and they'll stand there and go, "Oh, I saw it because of me." You know. Anyway, do you see where I'm going with that? So they take credit for everything that we've done. Number two, they've told us that we're stupid our whole lives, or that we're incompetent, or that we're blah, 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 because they're projecting who they are. Does that make sense? So remember, they are projecting what they are on to you, but we start internalizing that and going, "Yeah, I'm not competent. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, da, 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 da," you know. And so we start playing that tape in our head, and it's not true. It's not real. So imposter syndrome is that horrible, nagging sense that we're going to get found out. That, if we go public, or if we publish something, or if we're creative and we do art, or if we do whatever, or we do great at work, or we do something that's going to draw attention to us, that it's going to be like, what was the Body Snatchers? You remember the Body Snatchers with the pod people and Donald Sutherland at the end of the movie, where he's all, that thing? That creeped me out. Yeah. So it's like we think that we're going to be found out for being not competent, not, whatever. And so, so they'll lie. They'll lie. And they'll tell us that our accomplishments are not real, or that they don't deserve attention, or whatever. And so we start thinking that that's true. But then when we get out of the relationship and we go do amazing things, our brain is lying to us and just spitting out the same projection BS that they gave to us. And we start doubting ourselves. So is this a self-esteem issue? Hell yeah, it is. Self-esteem workbook, Glenn Schiraldi. Know your own worth and value and respect. RESPECT. Please, for the love of God, find out what it means to you. Seriously. Because that is what is driving the imposter syndrome. So let me just share a little something. When I first started writing, when I did my book, I'll What's wrong with your dad? Lo, these many years ago. God, it's been 10 plus years since I've written this. Holy crap. When I first started this, okay, and I published it, right? I self-published. I was perfectly fine with nobody buying it because I was like, failure, know how to do that. There you go. Because of my dad, right? And the same thing with the radio show and the YouTube and, working with Dave Pratt and everything else. It was like, well, if nobody listens, I'm okay. But then it was like, wait a minute, what the hell is this about? Well, it was that fear of, that. And it's an illusion, guys. Nobody, first of all, if a troll does that, they're a troll. Second of all, you know who you are better than anybody else. You got to get back to that. And you cannot believe everything you think. And that's where we go south because our brain has this amazing ability to lie to us, especially if we've been in a dysfunctional situation, right? So in working through that, when I was dealing, recognizing, oh shit, swore. I'm more used to, or I'm more comfortable with, the idea of failing than I am the idea with success. It was like, oh, well, now I need to work on my self-esteem. I need to work on knowing who the hell I really am. And so that's what I did. I just grabbed the self-esteem workbook and started working through it again. It's kind of like, what is this about? Where did this? Oh, Dad. Hi, Dad. How you doing? Go pound sand. Don't come back. It's like, and no, I'm not reincarnating with you. So, it's like, yeah. So it's like I had to work on that because I had that imposter syndrome. And I think most people that have survived abuse have got that kind of, oh my God, what if they find out? What if I don't know what I'm talking about? What if I don't, blah, blah. Do you see where I'm going with that? So I wanted to pull some articles on, are my glasses somewhat clean? It'll work. Okay. All right. So do you have imposter syndrome? And this is by Elliot Cohen, PhD, on Psychology Today. Imposter syndrome involves irrationally thinking you are fraudulent in receipt of praise from others. The syndrome typically manifests in anxiety about being exposed as a fraud. It involves a cognitive chain of emotional reasoning in which self-devaluation is deduced from a perfectionistic demand. So, in other words, it's like, oh my God, I must be perfect. It has to be perfect. It's not good enough. Whoa, what does that sound like? Not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Internal critic. Yep. Figure out what the internal critic is saying. Perfection is never going to happen, guys. We do not walk on water unless it's frozen or you're out ice skating. Seriously, it doesn't happen. And what makes us authentic, I think, are our flaws that we work on. So perfectionism is their gig. That's not ours. Remember, they demand everybody be perfect around them because they are the least perfect people walking the face of the planet. So they demand perfectionism. And then somehow we internalize that. And then we start going, oh, I have to be perfect. Oh, everything coming out of my mouth has to be perfect. Some people ask me that are like, well, why don't you, when you do your advertising, like on Instagram and you flub, why don't you redo it? And I'm like, because it wasn't that big of a deal. And I don't care. It's like, I'm human. I mispronounced a word. I'll just go back and say the right word and keep going. That's also a little bit of live theater in there. But so, and I'm not going to beat myself up for it. And I think that's where we go south, is we beat ourselves up for misspeaking or mistakes, or we start believing the trolls. Okay. The trolls can go pound sand. Seriously. There's enough naysayers in this world. Hold on one moment. And what's interesting is we believe the trolls, but we don't believe the people who are our cheerleaders. And again, what is that? Well, that is siding with the aggressor. That is that inner child choosing to side with an abuser, even if the abuser is internalized, even if it's the inner critic, siding with that, as opposed to the people going, yeah, that was great. You did a great job. We're really proud of you. You did great on that project. So, Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor, Regaining Your Inner Child by Lucia Cappuccioni, Codependency, Diseased Please, Harriet Breaker, Facing Codependency by Pia Melody. Seriously, this is what needs to be worked on. Okay. Imposter. Okay. Okay. Key to understanding this syndrome is that the stated self-devaluation is deduced from a higher order premise wherein you demand achievement perfection. However, like all other imperfect beings, you are incapable of satisfying this demand. From a Freudian perspective, this is an id-driven demand that attempts to achieve beyond what reality permits. Thus, it is up to your ego to bring the psyche back into touch with reality, kill the ego. Um, Okay, emotional reasoning behind the syndrome. Accordingly, the primary syllogism that comprises the syndrome looks something like this: emotional rule. I must achieve my goals perfectly. I must. So we call this, Carl Rogers called this masturbation. I should, I could, I would. It's called masturbation. I must be perfect. Well, you're not. You're not going to be perfect. There's always going to be room for improvement. Report, but I have not done so. I am flawed. My work has imperfections, even though others think I am worthy of respect. Conclusion. Therefore, I am a fraud, a false front, a deceiver, not worthy of the respect I receive because it's not perfect. The language may vary, but the point should be clear. You deduce a self damning judgment about your self worth from a rule that demands perfection and a report that informs you that you have failed to achieve the perfection you demand. As such, your emotional reasoning engenders a contradiction. You must achieve perfection, but you don't achieve it. Essentially, this says that it is necessary, that is true in all possible worlds, that you achieve your goals perfectly, but in this world you fall short of doing so. Hence, in this world, you are not what you must be, namely perfect. Since you are not what you must be, you are inferior, notwithstanding any accolades that you receive. Sadly, you feel like a deceiver when you receive such accolades, such as stated. You see yourself as unworthy of them. Emotional rule. I must achieve my goals perfectly. In some cases, the individual with the syndrome deduces volitional Kant-isms, oh, good Lord. From the self-damning conclusion, this means you disavow your capacity to refrain from doing things you really can refrain from doing. The expanded syndrome looks like the report, but I have not done so. I am flawed. My work has imperfections in it, even though other thinks I am worthy. Conclusion 1, therefore I am a fraud, a false front, deceiver, not worthy of respect. Conclusion 2, therefore, if others found out who I really was, I would be shamed. I would be mortified. Conclusion 3, therefore, I can't do anything that would expose who I really am. So, in other words, we get stuck. How many times have I heard from people going, oh my gosh, I really want to write my book. I really want to write my poetry. I really want to do my songs. I really want to, but I'm terrified of being told they're not good enough. Well, if I'm terrified that I'm going to be told I'm not good enough, I'm just not going to do them. That's what they want. Oh my God, you're playing right into what they want. Abusers do not want the light shone upon them because they're freaking cockroaches. They are. I'm sorry, I'm yelling. Oh, just. They want to stop anyone from being better than they are. They want to stop anyone from outshining them. They want to stop anyone from exposing them. They want to stop you from being your genuine, authentic self. The best middle finger you can give to these mother cluckers is to be your best, genuine, authentic self. Go do it. Publish, write, sing, do poetry, go out there and put yourself out there. And you've got to get a tough hide. Are there trolls? Yes. You know why? 45% of the population, I believe, have got some sort of personality disorder, probably narcissism. Do you see where I'm going with that? Because it never gets reported. They're like, oh, it's 9%. I'm like, no, it's not. So listen, if there's trolls, is there a grain of truth in what they're saying? No, usually not. If there is, work on it, change it, and then block them. I mean, sometimes I've had trolls bring up something legitimate, but usually not. Usually they're just there to be nasty little, mother cluckers because they don't have a life. And they're probably still living in their parents' basement. But anyway, the point being is that they want us to stop. They want us to stop. They don't want us to express ourselves because they don't understand it. If they can't do it, how dare you? And so they instill this inner critic that's like, don't you dare, don't you dare. Oh my God, you're going to get exposed. So it really is an act of defiance and bravery to tell your story. It is. It is an act of defiance and bravery to stand in the face of trolls and have them, fine, do your worst, mother clucker. Guess what? Delete, block, take what I need from that and toss the rest. Exactly. You don't have to believe everything you think, and you also don't have to believe everything trolls say. Okay. So now here's what's interesting is when people say nice things, we tend to disavow that again because of siding with the aggressor. Who are we siding with? We're siding with the mean person internally, sometimes externally. So it's really important. It's like, no, 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 let's get aligned with the light here. Let's get aligned with Gandalf over here on the right side. You know what I'm saying? Or the left side or wherever they are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get aligned with that which nourishes your soul. The negative stuff does not always nourish your soul. Now, that is not to say do toxic positivity. That is not to say, oh my gosh, my doo-doo doesn't stink. No, flaws will happen and I'm willing to learn from them, but I'm not going to stop myself from being creative, from writing, from singing, from, whatever, because of the abuser or the internal critic, which is a part of the abuser. It's almost like we're abusing ourselves now, which really I want to put a stop to. Okay, so in conclusion two, you catastrophize about being exposed. You feel like you can't do anything because you're going to be shamed. While some high-profile individuals have imposter syndromes, others tend to avoid taking on responsibility that would blow their cover. That's what I'm talking about. It's like avoidance, don't do it, hide, blah, blah. And that makes for a very small life. So really what it is that the abuser wants your world to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they want you to get smaller and smaller and smaller. They do not want you to shine. They do not want you to be authentic. They do not want you to be the amazing person that you are and to help other people. Why? Because the more people that get it about narcissistic abuse, the more people that stand up and go, this is wrong for me, and it's wrong to do this to another person, and we're not putting up with it anymore, the less the abusers are going to be able to do stuff. And that's why they don't want us to speak up. That's why they don't want us to trust ourselves or love ourselves or have confidence in ourselves. So, overcoming imposter syndrome with philosophy. Okay. So, the first thing to identify is your perfectionism. So, you've got to have mindfulness. How much do you tell yourself this has to be perfect? How much do you tell yourself, oh my God, I'm going to be discovered? Oh my God. You got to address all of that and you got to work with the inner child. So, serious as a heart attack, get with a good trauma therapist. Start working on the inner child. Start working on the self-esteem workbook. Get to know yourself. Really love yourself 110%. And most of this stuff is going to evaporate like water on a hot day. Giving up the demand for perfection can be a life changer because much of your life is likely ruled by this premise, making you a slave to perfectionism. Okay, so that would be mindfulness. Okay. He also wrote a book, Making Peace with Imperfection. There is a chapter devoted to achievement perfection, which provides a systematic set of exercises you can do in working to overcome achievement perfectionism that undergirds your imposter syndrome. So this is Making Peace with Imperfection, and this is written by Elliot Cohan, PhD. So I thought that was a really good one. Okay, 5 ways to overcome imposter syndrome. We're doing good on time. Okay, instead of listening to the negative voice in your head, listen to the feedback that you get from others. Odds are your boss isn't just being nice when she or he gives you an excellent evaluation or recommends you for a promotion. Other people tend to be more objective than we are with ourselves. As psychologist Adam Grant observed, imposter syndrome is a paradox. Others believe in you, but you don't believe in yourself. Yet you believe yourself instead of them. So that's the inner child. That's the siding with the aggressor. That's believing the negative, what your abuser told you, as opposed to the real information come in going, hey, you did a great job. We're offering you a promotion. How many times have I had clients go, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too much. They'll find out I'm a fake. They'll find out I'm a fraud. And it's like, whoa, 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 take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Do you really think your boss is going to promote you because they don't have faith in you? No, bosses want the job done. Now, will there be some bosses that play that kind of game? Yeah, but you got to trust your gut on that. So this boss had given no indication that there was any of that going on, had been 100% supportive. Do you see where I'm going with that? So it's kind of like you got to do a little logic. You've got to start using critical thinking along with uh, really picking apart, what are you feeling? Where did it come from? Who taught you this? Mindfulness, it's really a lot of mindfulness and critical thinking. Okay, there was that. Okay, channel your inner Sherlock Holmes. When self doubt creeps in, do some detective work, gather evidence, consider objective measures, remind yourself that what you have accomplished. So you write out a list of all the good things you've done. Think of someone's life you have touched or someone else's career you have profoundly and positively impacted. Concrete examples will help you stop underestimating yourself and recognize that other people aren't overestimating you. Look backwards. Now, hold on before we move to look backwards. So, you know, when I think that, oh, I'm just going to retire. I'm done. It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. I'll get a message from somebody going, oh my God, you saved my life. And that's when I go, yeah, no, I'm not ever going to retire. Thank you. Thank you, universe. That was that's what I needed to hear. Thank you. So we do impact people and we do impact them positively, hopefully. And it does help to remind yourself, wait, I respect this person. This person respects me. That's a form of love. That's a form of self-esteem. Huh, interesting. How come I'm willing to believe the inner critic, but not them? Something to ponder. And probably something to write a letter about. Dear inner critic, go pound sand, you mother clucker. I am done believing you. You're a liar. You are a projector. You are really my abuser. Bleep the bleepity bleep bleep out of bleeping bleep you with a splintered baseball bat. You, may the fleas of a million Arab camels make nests in your armpits. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oi, it's from them. It's just it's almost like another aspect of the abuser. It really is. So write him a goodbye letter. Write it a goodbye letter. Write the imposter syndrome bullshit a goodbye letter. Seriously. Because it's lying. It's a liar. It's a liar. Okay, look backward. Imposter syndrome tends to kick in when we become hyper-focused on the challenges that lie ahead. Instead of listening to the negativity skewed chatter in your head about what you cannot do in the future, consider the past. As a recent awards event, model and designer Gigi Hadid explained how she uses this technique to overcome self-doubt. Now, in the times where I feel like I have imposter syndrome, I think back to learning from every season and tell myself it will get better and you will be more proud of yourself. Hadid credits Tommy Hilfiger for helping her to overcome imposter syndrome. So it's important to give yourself a cheerleader chat. It's like, no, you do know what you're doing. Stop. Thought stopping. It's like, okay, inner critic, I hear you. I see you. You cannot come in. I hear you knocking. I hear you knocking. You cannot come in. No, not letting you in. Here's what's real. Here's what's true. Here's what I've learned in the past. Here's what I'm doing now. And here's what I want to do in the future. And you little are not going to stop me. Nice try. Have fun. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, get mad at it. Y'all should be getting really angry at this abuser who's gone, who's still living in your head, who's still trying to abuse you. Don't allow it. Do not allow it. Goodbye letter. Go pound sand. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Have fun with that. Bye-bye. All right. So make a list. Psychologist Suzanne Imes, who actually coined the term imposter syndrome, uses with her clients involves making a list with 3 columns. And this is where the critical thinking comes in. The first of the things we're not so good at. There's things I am not good at. I am not good at math. I will be the first one to tell you that. If I try to do math in my head, 9 times out of 10, it's wrong. That's why I have a calculator. I'm not particularly good at drawing or art. That kind of thing. So you write the things down that you're not particularly good at on one column. And then the second column, the things that you're okay at. And then the third column, the things you're very good at. Reminders of the accomplishments and connections will reduce the self-doubt because you're speaking the truth. It's kind of like, okay, things I'm okay at. Well, I'm okay at singing. I'm okay at it. I'm okay at working out. I'm just okay. I'm not great. I'm not one of those people who's going to be a gym rat there 24 hours a day. I'm just okay at it. And then, okay, next column, things that I am good at. Psychology. That's I got that one nailed. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, make the critical thinking list so that you can tell that to shut the bleep up. So when we tell the inner critic to shut the hell up, I will get to the questions in just a minute. I got one more article I want to go to. When we tell the inner critic to shut the hell up, you don't want to just be like, oh, shut up, go away. Because what it'll do is it'll come roaring back bigger and badder. So, what you want to do is, okay, inner critic, I hear you. I see you. I am not going to believe you. Why? Because I say so. Take your power back. I don't have to believe you. You're my abuser. I don't have to believe you. What I am going to believe is that I am competent and I do know what I'm doing, and you do not get to piss on my campfire because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to stop you. So, yeah, so it's like you've got to be like, no, and I mean it. Why? Because I say so. And then you do the polar opposite. I do know what I'm doing. I absolutely do know what I'm doing. And that helps you because it's like you state the truth, which is really powerful. Okay. Reframe it as a strength. Imposter syndromes, those with imposter syndrome are more likely to say, I don't know, even I'm sorry, are more likely to say, I don't know when they don't know. This is an advantage. Overconfident people assume they have all the answers when they don't. Humility, uncertainty, and self doubt are part of the learning process, but not to a crippling extent. It's when those things become crippling, it's when they get us stuck. When we're like, oh, I can't do this because I'll be found out. Oh, I can't. No, you want to have humility. I don't know everything. And I'm the first to admit that. It's like sometimes people ask me questions and I'll be like, okay, let me research this and I'll get back to you because off the top of my head, I do not know. I'm going to have to go find out. So, you know, but having humility is a good thing because I think where I don't like some people that I see on YouTube and TikTok, and not that I'm a part of TikTok, but I see things from TikTok, is the arrogance. It's like the guru thing. That's a red flag, guys. Anybody who says they have all the answers is probably got something to sell you. So if I had all the answers, guys, I'd retire. I would. I really would. I'm getting to that point where it's like, I just want to retire and go to the beach and just not think for a little bit. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, it's like a little humidity. Because I was thinking of the beach. A little humility and uncertainty and a little self doubt are part of the learning process. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can. Oh my gosh, I can do this. That's healthy. But when it's crippling, it's not. Okay. Okay. And he's talking about when this is I'm sorry, Samantha Boardman, MD. She graduated medical school and had imposter syndrome for the first few months, getting through. And she had a mentor that was like, no, you know what you're doing. And patient had sent her a note thanking her for her care and how wonderful she was. And she kept that note with her. So that's important. Those little things, just like I said, when I get a thing from a personal listener going, oh my God, you saved my life. That's when I go, okay, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. Okay, good. So even though I've worked on myself all these years, yeah, sometimes I still get imposter syndrome. You betcha. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing the right thing. Sometimes, but that I think is normal for anyone who's been in an abusive relationship of any kind. So, all right. So that was that article. This is 5 Ways to Overcome Imposter Syndrome by Samantha Boardman. And the next one is 10 Ways to Overcome Imposter Syndrome. So let me see if I can find. Okay, create a brag box or a folder. So what I will have clients do, especially when they're telling me, oh, I'm not good. I don't know anything. I'm not that smart. I'm not. And I've heard them say that because their abuser has told them that their whole life. I will go, no. I want you to tell me all your accomplishments. Let's do that in 1 minute, 1 minute time. We're going to do a 1 minute brag. And so they'll start telling me their accomplishments. And the funny thing of it is I'll let them go longer than a minute. And then when they run out, I'll be like, yeah, that was 5 minutes. They're like, Oh, because then they realize they have done a lot and they've accomplished a lot. So create a brag box or a folder or an accomplishment box. Surround yourself with the right people. You may not have imposter syndrome completely. You may just be around a bunch of A hats. You know what I'm saying? So surround yourself with the right people. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are naysayers, that remind you of your abuser, that are maybe abusers themselves, it's hard to heal when you're in an environment in which you're getting damaged. So surround yourself with the right people. Share it. Talk it out. Get a good therapist. Talk to friends, write it down, write it out, get it out of your head, get it onto paper, challenge it. Stop comparing yourself. That is the big thing. I see a lot of adult children of narcissists compare all the time. So we were taught to compare because that's what our family of origin did. It was always a competition. It was always well, they're there and I should be there too, kind of thing, instead of, hey, I'm where I'm at. Because abusers are always in competition, always, always, always. So stop comparing yourself to other people. You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know how they got to where they are. You don't know maybe some hinky things they did to get there. So it's really important. Stop comparing. You are you, and you are all you need. Seriously, you don't need to compare yourself. You're comparing yourself to who you were last year or last week or yesterday or whatever. The only competition you're in is with yourself to keep getting better and stronger and healthier and more authentic. That's really it. Hold on. Get rid of the perfection. I think we've already covered that. Develop a circle of amplifiers. Develop a circle of cheerleaders. Surround yourself with the right people. Visualize success. Visualize success and get used to it. So mirror work is a good way to do that. Hi, good to see you. Have a great day. You know what? It's okay for you to be successful. And then notice how you feel. Because a lot of times I'll have people do that and they'll be like, oh my God, my stomach's clenching. That's because you're afraid. You're afraid of success, and it's okay. We all are. When we get from a family of origin and they've told us it's not okay, and suddenly we're thinking it's okay, we're terrified because we're going against the abuser. We're no longer siding with the abuser, and the inner child is now going, what the, freaking out. Totally. Okay. Work in draft mode. Trying to be a one-take wonder is setting yourself up for failure. Work in draft mode with the understanding that your paper or project can be refined. Things can always be improved on. It doesn't have to be perfect. So that is a really good article. This is by Ruth Goshen, and this is called 10 Ways to Overcome Imposter Syndrome. So basically, the takeaway is almost everybody that's come out of an abusive relationship has imposter syndrome at one point or another. We don't trust who we are. We don't trust that we know what we're doing. It's a self-esteem issue. It is it's surrounding yourself with the right people. It is really seriously telling that inner critic to go pound sand and don't ever come back. So doing the mirror work, reminding yourself it's okay to be successful. It is. It's okay to have a good relationship. It is. It's okay to laugh. It is. I've had clients that have had abusive relationships where they're like, I feel like I've lost my humor and it's not okay for me to laugh or have fun. That's because the abuser couldn't stand laughing and humor and fun. So you got to give yourself permission. You got to give that inner child permission to stand up to the abuser, the inner critic, which is the abuser. Does that all make sense? I really hope it does. So anyway, there is that. Okay, so I hope that answers your question on imposter syndrome. It is very common. Self-Esteem Workbook, Glenn Schiraldi, Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor, or Regaining Your Inner Child by Lucia Cappuccioni, whichever one of those works better for you. Some people like the experiential. Other people like the writing it out, left hand, right hand kind of thing. CPTSD, From Surviving to Thriving, Pete Walker, as always, because this is all trauma-based. Hello. Challenging the Inner Critic, Replacing it with the Positive, writing it, a Go Pound Sand letter. Absolutely. Dear Imposter Syndrome, bleep the bleepity bleep bleep out of bleeping bleep you. I refuse. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm taking my power back. I get to be me in all my glorious flaws. deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And then write it, trot it out to the barbecue, read it out loud once, burn it. So there is that. All right, let's dive into the questions, shall we? Do narcs not just kill a pet to hurt their child, but they also enjoy doing this? Yes. It is like this would be an ultimate rush of power for them to kill a helpless animal. Well, yes. And let's talk about antisocial slash psychopath for a brief moment. So, psychopaths, not all psychopaths go on to kill. Thank God, because we'd be in trouble if they did. But the ones that do, okay, they usually start out with animals. That's every serial killer I have ever read about started off with animals. They started off with small animals. And then they move up the food chain as they get emboldened. Do they enjoy it? Absolutely. They are sadists. So the dark triad is absolutely a sadist, okay? The narcissistic part of them loves the power, loves the feeling of God. I am God. I can kill something. I can take that life away. That is horrific. Oh my God. So, yeah, they are sadists and they enjoy inflicting emotional, physical, religious, sexual pain, like an abnormal amount. You see where I'm going with that? So, they get off on watching animals suffer, they get off on watching kids suffer. And if they can do both, oh, that is their cocaña. That is their cocaña. That is narcissistic supply, you bet. So it is not surprising that in a lot of divorce cases that I've had to deal with, I'm working with a target of abuse, there's animals involved. Inevitably, the abuser will harm the animal, make the animal disappear, give the animal to a shelter, not tell them, give it to a stranger so that they can't find it. Yeah, this has happened multiple times, and don't kid yourself, they will do that. So they're sadists. They enjoy the pain. They enjoy inflicting the pain. It makes them feel powerful. And what they don't realize is that they are the weakest, most contemptible pieces of doo-doo on the face of the planet. Nobody respects them, but they don't get that. They don't get that. They think that the ability to kill makes them special. Any idiot can kill. Seriously. Compassion is where it's at. When you can look at somebody who's harmed you and have real compassion and not idiot compassion and still not let them abuse you, that's power. You know what I'm saying? But they don't get that. They don't get that because there's nothing there. There's no there except ego. It's all ego, 110%. And that's all they care about is power, control, my ego, me, I, more. And if they can get both of those needs met, harming an animal, harming a person, oh, that makes them feel so good. They're sick and they're evil, if you want my personal opinion. So, yes, they absolutely. Let me make sure I answered that. Yes, it is the ultimate rush of power if they can kill a helpless animal and hurt the child in the process. Okay, second question. Why do some people keep telling you the same story over and over? Okay. I get clients that get stuck in their story. People get stuck in their story. And okay, they're so people who get stuck in their story are fearful of moving forward. They would rather stay in the anger or stay in the sad or stay in whatever as opposed to, okay, this is in the past, let's move forward. Okay. So why do people say the same things when I'm talking to you guys? Because I'm seeing new clients that have not done the research as much as some of the older listeners have done. And so to them, the question is brand new. And yes, I will answer every single one of those questions because they haven't done the research. So some of you guys have been around with me for years. God bless you. Because I've been doing this since 2013. So I've been doing this for 11 years now. So I get the same questions over and over and over again because I get new people that haven't done the research, that are just now discovering this, that don't understand narcissistic abuse, that are coming across imposter syndrome or coming across self-esteem issues or coming across codependency or whatever. And it's a good refresher for everybody. I learn something new every single day. And yes, am I repeating stuff? You betcha. You betcha. But I'm going to keep repeating it until I don't need to. I'll tell you what, when everybody on the face of the planet is well versed in what a narcissist is and can avoid those mother cluckers, and I am no longer needed, I will retire. Until such a time, nope, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until people get it, because that's my goal. That's my job. That's why I'm here. So there it is. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. So it's one of two things. Either people get stuck in their story and they tell the same story over and over and over again because they're afraid of moving on, or I'm getting new people coming to this channel that have not done the research, have not, don't know what to do. That's why I'm here, guys. Not everybody knows what's to do. Seriously, it's like when somebody comes out of, think back, let's get into Sherman's time machine and go into the way back. So when we first came out of abusive relationships, we were in the fog. Fear, obligation, guilt, cognitive dissonance. Oh my God, what the hell just happened? I don't even know where to begin. Wow, and so guidance, it's like not everybody jumps out fully, like Venus from, is it Venus? Venus from the shell? I think it's Venus from the shell, fully grown, it's like people come out of these relationships and they're going to have these questions that maybe you guys have already figured out, but they haven't. So just consider it, good review. Make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to for yourself and be patient and kind to those coming out of abusive relationships that don't have the answers, and help them. That's what it's all about, helping them, because they don't have the answers and they need guidance. And it's good to have mentors. And that's why I love doing this, is because I see you guys on there helping each other. So keep doing it. Okay, I think, let me check and see. Yep, that's it. All right. So next week, I'm going to be talking about dissociative identity disorder. So multiple personalities, dissociating, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is a trauma response. We're going to be talking about that, what you can do to help with that, and how not to get stigmatized and all that sort of fun stuff. So next week is going to be DID, dissociative identity disorder. All right, my loves, go have a great week. Drink plenty of water. If you're in California, for the love of God and all that's holy, please be safe. I understand they're going to get hit with about a year's worth of rain in like 1 week. So please be careful. And make sure you have all your emergency supplies and everything, and that you keep your pets safe, because that scares me. So excuse me. All right. So you guys go have a great week. Stay safe, stay dry. And I will talk to you next Sunday on dissociative identity disorder. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.